Hello, everyone. Welcome. We have Mel joining us tonight. How are you doing, Mel?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, same here. Energy's been a bit crazy, but for myself anyway, I felt like a bit of a shift yesterday,
Is it every
energetically.
retrograde or what? Because it feels something ain't right. Oh,
Yeah, it's the energy's been very heavy. Like I said, today I feel like I'm tired now, but earlier I was very energized and feeling good. But it's a bit of like whiplash all over the place, isn't it?
it is actually.
All
Anyway.
right. Is there Well, me and Mel will be doing political current event questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. All caps, a couple heart emojis. We'll get to as many as possible. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about before we started doing questions? Any announcements or anything, Mel?
Um, well, I've got an Africa trip.
Yes.
June the 20th of next year. I think it's like 13 or 14 days. It's going to go to Kenya, Tanzania, and three of the safari camps I think was glamping, but Mayflower Cruises and Tours. There was one departing June the 6th, but I can only take 20 people, but they already had 6 on it. And so that didn't work. So they put one together especially for our group. And I've got the whole trip. I've got room for 20 people. If you're coming alone, I will assign you a roommate because we can't assign single rooms. We just don't have enough room.
Yeah.
But it's going to be absolutely amazing. We're not going to go in to see the gorillas or the chimpanzees, but a lot of time is in the national parks in Kenya and Tanzania, like the Olduvai Gorge, and we'll go in the Caldera, the volcano, to see the black rhinos.
Mhm.
We'll go to the Ngorongoro National Park. A couple days we'll be in the Serengeti, and there's an optional hot air balloon ride across the Serengeti, and the wildebeest migration starts in June. So we're leaving June the 20th. So hopefully we'll see some of that.
It
Um,
sounds magical.
yeah, it's going to be an amazing trip. Mayflower upgraded some of the accommodations and didn't charge any extra.
Right.
And it's airfare included. But if people want to book their own airfare, we can subtract $1,700. But it's going to be amazing. And I'm really excited. It's a safe trip. I've been to Africa before, to Uganda. And so if you're interested, call my office, 847-590-5411. 847-590-5411. Becky Gilbert is coming. And the people that have been to Africa before, they let me know because I've already taken a trip. So, but I don't want to say I'll give them first preference, but if they call first, they get first preference. How's that? Anything after that is first come, first serve. But I will guarantee you it is life changing.
Yeah.
And I looked at the accommodations, and even the tent ones, the safari tent camps are absolutely amazing. So this is going to be a neat trip.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I can tell you how many days. Just give me 1 second. Let me look. I can even tell you the accommodations. Give me 1 minute here. Oops. Darn it. Give me 1 second.
Well, while Mel is looking for that, please do us a favor. Please hit the thumbs up. I'm sure most of you are probably already subscribed to Mel's channel, but if you haven't, please go over to his channel, Mel Doerr, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. I think I'm like 60 away from 9,000, so we'll be doing a free reading and a free Reiki giveaway. Hopefully, probably not next week, but probably the following week. But I'm getting pretty close to that goal. So thank you all for all of the love and support.
But the last one was like, I think 8 or 9 days. This one is 11 days.
Okay.
And I'm sorry. No, I take it back. It's actually 13 days. So,
13 days. Cool.
Yep, the last one I think was 9 or 10 days. This one's 13 days. So a little short of 2 weeks. And we will be staying, I can tell you, give me 1 second. I just got to look. Okay, this is so cool. We will fly from wherever you're coming from to Nairobi, Kenya. In the Nairobi, Kenya, we will stay. Give me a second. We will stay in the Sarova Stanley Hotel. It's a really old hotel, but it's really neat. It's a 5-star hotel.
Okay.
And that's day 2. We'll spend overnight there. Then day 3 and 4, we will go to Amboseli Serena Safari Lodge. That's really cool. And that's in Amboseli National Park, which is in Kenya. Yay, Kenya. Day 5, we will stay, and I probably mispronouncing this, the Tarangire Sopa Lodge, the Tarangire National Park, and that is in Tanzania, or as they say in Uganda, Tanzania. Right? Okay. From there, we'll stay in the Tarangire one night. Day 6 and 7, we'll stay at the Ngorongoro Retreat. I looked at these are amazing, you know. That's in the conservation area. Days 8 and 9, the Serengeti Heritage Camp and the Serengeti National Park. Now these are glamping, a couple of these. Okay, days 10 and 11 at the Ashno Mara Camp, and I looked at that one. They're all cool. They are really cool. And then day 12, the Mabwiha Safari Camp, Lake Nakuru National Park, and all of those are in Tanzania. And once we're done with Tanzania, we'll come back to Nairobi, and we will fly home. So we'll see giraffes, wildebeest, rhinos, endangered rhinos, elephants, all kinds of animals. So, and we'll hang out with the Masai Mara tribe. We'll go to the Olduvai Gorge where LSB Leakey, his wife actually, Mary Leakey, thought she discovered the missing link, the missing evolutionary link that led to humans and modern anthropoid apes. You know, Darwin didn't say we evolved from apes. He said that modern anthropoid apes and humans, he thought, had a common ancestor. And Mary Leakey thought she had discovered that. She called it Australopithecus afarensis. And so we'll see the Olduvai Gorge where that happened. And it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Well, you're busy. I know that you have a lot of trips planning, and it sounds like you have a lot of fun adventures coming up. So,
well, we're leaving October 9th for Italy. We've got 22 people. Hi, everybody. I will set up a Zoom meeting for everybody. We're leaving October 9th. We'll fly we'll go to Venice, and they'll have a boat. Well, we'll go from the airport to our hotel, but when we get to the water, they'll have a boat waiting to take us to our hotel. I think we'll be there 2 or 3 days. Then from there, we'll go to Fiorenza or Florence. From Florence to Montecatini 3 days. We'll go to Pisa 1 day, Siena 1 day, and then tour Montecatini. From Montecatini, we'll take the train back to Florence. From Florence to Rome, we'll be 3 days in Rome. So we'll see the Vatican, part of the Vatican. Can't see it all. Sistine Chapel, which is amazing, the creation. It's on the ceiling. I've seen it numerous times. It's just breathtaking. I cry every time I see it. We'll see the Colosseum. We'll see all kinds of good stuff. So that's October the 9th. So, you know, right before our final departure, people don't hear from me a lot before our final departure. But a couple weeks before, they're going to be sick of me. So they're going to start hearing from me a lot by tomorrow. So anyway, that's the itinerary. And then 2025, I want to put together a group to go to the Galapagos Islands.
That would be awesome.
Wildlife and a cruise on the Mekong River, which starts in Laos, goes to Cambodia, and ends in Vietnam. And I've heard and I've talked to people that have done it, and they say it's absolutely beautiful. So those are some of the things.
Well, it's going to be a fun time for sure.
Oh, and I forgot. Did I say next year? I forgot about this. Next September the 6th, and I still have a few openings on this one. We start in Amsterdam. We come all the way down through Germany, stop in Strasbourg, France, and we end in Switzerland. That's a Rhine River cruise. The boat, 150 people, and I've got 40 going. So
fun.
Yeah, I love doing it.
Yeah, and it is great. I definitely see you continuing to do these trips, and it's a great way to meet a lot of the subscribers in our community and
That's right.
get to have fun and relax and travel. So
And plus, I get a free trip out of it. So
there you go too, right?
it's a lot. It's a lot of work. I mean,
Uh,
I get a little commission check as well. It's a lot of work,
yeah.
but it's fun work.
I just want to say thank you to Jay Roberts for
Yay!
that. So thank you.
There you go. Okay,
All
I'm
right,
sorry. Enough of the infomercial.
you're good. All right, I got a bunch of questions started. Is there anything that you noticed in the news, or anything that you wanted to that you were picking up, or are we good to go
No,
into questions?
Kevin, I get so frustrated. I watched that
Yeah,
I might watch that Garland thing, and I'm
yeah.
thinking, that's just payback. And my guides told me the person behind all that was Donald Trump. And Trump's
Oh
like,
yeah.
they did it to me. I'm going to do it to Garland. They did it to my attorney general. And now I'm going to do it to Garland. And now I'm going to do it to Joe Biden because, because of we're going to with Hunter and that Ukraine thing. And the only reason Trump is behind it is because he wants to get even with Zelensky,
Mm,
and he's behind it all.
yeah.
Well, somebody's going to come forward and prove that. So at some point, more indictments. Yay!
Mm,
You know, I mean, nobody's saying anything about the suspected crimes that Trump committed. The MAGAs are turning their back on that. They're too busy. It's an election year coming up, and they want to make Joe Biden look bad. And they're
hmm.
filling the airwaves once again with a bunch of BS. But it will be exposed.
Right, right.
And if they try
I
to impeach Joe Biden, it's going to bite them in the butt.
And it won't be successful. It won't.
No,
It won't
no.
even go to. I don't think it would go to the Senate, and if it did, they wouldn't even put it on the floor. Um,
But you know what? My light bulb just went on, and what I see is if they're going to do this to Merrick Garland, at some point, the Democrats are going to bring the Mueller report front and center again.
oh, I see that too.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree. Me and you both have agreed that the Mueller report's coming back to the surface. It might be like later on next year or early the following year, but um, yeah, I see that in headlines again. I found the you know, with Merrick Garland going to Congress, um, I think it's pretty hypocritical because if the Republicans are going off about this Republican that Trump appointed, that's the special counsel for Hunter Biden. But if Garland would have taken him off and put a Democrat on, they they would have lost it and complained. But now they want to say that this Republican, um, isn't doing a proper job. I just find that crazy. I thought it was hilarious. Swalwell called out Jim Jordan because they were saying that they wanted to hold him I think in contempt. Um, and Swalwell brought up that Jim Jordan dodged the was it a subpoena to testify or to speak about I think it was one of the committee things. But Swalwell really let him have it, and I thought Adam Schiff, what I saw him deliver was really putting the Republicans in their place. It's a shit show going on in the House, and I've been saying that for a while.
And you
It's
said the
going,
Republican Party is going to implode, and I just wrote here Jim Jordan is in trouble, by the
oh
way.
yeah, I agree, and it's about to get crazy, you guys. I said on my show Tuesday, make sure that we're taking deep breaths and grounding our energy. If the news seems to be a bit overwhelming, making sure to not just watch the news all day, because the energy feels really heavy. They can't even pass the defense bill and the government, the
They
budget.
want the government to shut down because they don't care about their constituents. They want to create anarchy.
Well, and Trump's telling them to shut it down too, because they want to defund the FBI and the Justice Department because of their charges against Trump.
Correct. And he thinks if he defunds them, they won't have the money to pursue this investigation. But think in one hand and urinate the other one and see which one goes up the fastest.
Right.
You know,
Crazy.
it's it's like my friend Beverly says, buckle your seatbelts. And I've said
Mhm.
this before too. It's going to be a wild ride, but
Yeah.
they won't win.
Yep. And you're already starting to see some of the Republicans, the more moderate ones in swing districts, they're all starting to freak out a little bit because, um, and they're even saying that the party's kind of in shambles because they don't want to shut down not pass the budget because they know the ramifications for themselves. So we're going to start seeing, and I've been saying it with that implosion, um, you know, the lines being drawn and having the MAGAs over here and what they call rhinos over here. It's gonna We're gonna start to see some Republicans start to grow a pair and speak up against the crazies in their party.
Oh, I see that too. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you said the hypocrisy, I chuckled. I needed a good laugh. Hypocrisy. I don't know what word. I don't. I say this facetiously. I don't know what word trumps hypocrisy.
Hmm. Yeah.
Trump trumps hypocrisy. That's the MAGA trumps hypocrisy.
Did
Yeah,
you
you know what? I mean, look at Jared Kushner. Look at some of Trump's
Right.
crap they pulled. They're going after Hunter Biden because he said something about his taxes, and if he's wrong, then prosecute. But because he filled out a gun application, he didn't disclose that he was using drugs. Donald, you falsely inflated your property so you could get tax breaks on it. You groped women, okay? You've
Yeah.
tried to have an insurrection against this country.
Sold our top secret information to our adversaries,
Oh,
nuclear
yeah.
information,
And then the
allies,
called
defense
Zelensky
information.
and said, if you don't do this, I'm not giving you this money. Called Georgia to try to get 11,000 more votes to influence that. And the Republicans give it a wink and a nod. But you're
Hmm.
going after Hunter. You know what? It's hypocrisy, and Trump is behind every single bit of it. And you know what, Kevin? It comes back to wag the dog. It comes
Hmm.
back to RDs: deceive, divert, detract, distract, divide, and destroy.
Yeah.
And I'm so sick of hearing about Donald Trump. If the media would not talk about him, or these Jim Jordans, or all this other BS, for at least a month, maybe even 2 weeks, you'll see.
Oh, right. I mean, it's all about getting the ratings and keeping people in a constant state of fear. Excuse me.
It is.
Um, it's all about getting the views. That's why I tell people, if you feel like you need to take a break, or if you're gonna watch the news, watch it. I watch Morning Joe. Sometimes I'll watch a little bit throughout the day, but I don't sit all day watching the news.
What they need to say, rather than news, they need to say this is not news. This is op-ed.
Hmm.
This is opinion editorial. It's not news. News
Yeah.
are what I put on at like 5 o'clock, and I watch the news commentators in Chicago give the news.
Hmm.
You know, the
Yeah.
other, like, and we all know that there's a certain network that's a propaganda arm.
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up. Did
Well,
you hear?
we had said that there was going to be a lot more lawsuits. I won't mention their name against them. And now there's all of these shareholders coming forward and all these people filing a lawsuit. And you
Hmm.
know what? Those lawsuits are going to cost that network so much money. My guys are telling me that network won't be able to make it. And my
Okay.
guys told me that months and months and months ago.
Hmm.
And here we are.
What did you see on the news that Rupert Murdoch stepped down,
I
or
don't
he's
know.
stepping
Step
down?
down. I think
No, he announced it today. It was all over the news.
well, it was that whole idea of that certain network
Hmm.
uh, that helped to create the anarchy in this country that we
Oh,
see today.
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, there's certain countries that didn't want them.
Hmm.
So
Well, me and you both said we saw a lot of changes, a lot of lawsuits. Um, I kind of felt like Fox News would, either they're bought out because of all the lawsuits and then they come more to the middle. I see Fox News going more towards the middle of not being so crazy. It will probably be a little bit, leaning right just a hair, but it's going to come much more to the center. And um, I don't see them really giving a platform for all these extremists and conspiracy theory people.
Well, there's going to be some scuttlebutt about somebody who is supposedly big in privatizing space. I won't
Mm,
mention the name. Um, is going to maybe invest in it. Um, and maybe the same people that bought Twitter,
hmm
but I don't know. Uh, but ultimately, my guides are showing me that somebody, a whole group behind the scenes is going to end up maybe buying it. I don't know.
hmm
Uh, After a bankruptcy, and
Yeah,
I see them bringing it. You're right back to center. And
they're
it's not
leaning a little
a
bit to the
propaganda
right.
arm anymore. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree. But it's going to kind of go with what I've been saying. The Republican Party is going to be, it's going to implode, and then they're going to have to build it from the ground up. So it's kind of going along with the new ways of the new Republican Party, but it's going to take several years.
Well, the other thing I see coming is I've often said a third party, but
hmm
that is for the workers. Yay. that
hmm
will that will do very well. And it's not going to be some of these people that are Democrats saying they're starting a new party. No. I mean, I'm sorry, that so-called Democrats that are starting a new party, like Manchin or Sinema. Uh-uh. This will be a legitimate party
Yeah,
and it'll do well.
it feels like it's a little bit more financially conservative, but also too. Um, it seems like they court after the younger vote because I see them being progressive with like green technology and kind of developing that. But I see a lot of younger people, I think, being
But when you
attracted
say
to it.
financial conservatism, I laugh because the Republicans were all about that until Trump got in, and they lent
Right?
more money than any president in American history.
Exactly. Isn't it funny that it's like the Republicans that are financially conservative, even though they give all these tax breaks to the wealthy and these big corporations, they end up destroying our economy, and then the Democrats have to come in to rebuild it. And yet the Democrats are the ones that aren't good for the economy. It's because they're cleaning up the Republicans' mess.
I didn't think the government would shut it down, but if they shut it down, it's going to affect our credit rating. They don't care though. But I see something where this president will be able to step in and say, no, you know what? I think there's some kind of act he can do to keep that from happening. Uh, and if it's shut down, it won't be for long. But if it does shut down, it's another nail in the coffin for the MAGA Republicans.
Oh, absolutely. It will. I see a short shutdown. It feels like to me like a week or two.
And what about Tuberville? Well, when the Pentagon says
Mhm.
they'll, stop abortion, then I will blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, you cannot hold this hostage.
Well,
You
he's
don't.
been doing it for months.
Well, here's the deal. They're going to be questioning the legality of that, and I see legislation passed that will prevent that from happening again.
I felt I said it earlier this month on my channel that I did feel like there was going to be progress. Somehow they're able to get around Tupperville. Now I know that they just promoted somebody. I think that they had to bring it to the floor, and it would take too long to do it for all of the people. Um, but I almost feel like too like Schumer and McConnell figuring a way around him too, because I do feel like McConnell will get in on it, and because it's starting to get dangerous for our national security.
Yes, and I see the bullies out of government like that. So good.
hmm they have a way around it, and I do see it happening soon. I was feeling like end of this month or October.
And then
Um,
there's from impeachment. Oh, and by the way, I think you're right about some moderate Republicans that are saying this is a a doo-doo show
mhm.
about when they questioned Merrick Garland. Oh, well, we're trying to see if there's grounds to impeach Joe Biden. No, they weren't. They were just trying to make Merrick Garland look bad, make him squirm, and make Biden look bad. But it didn't. But you know what? I saw somebody said it looked bad for Merrick Garland, but I watched part of that. And he held himself well. It
I
made
agree.
those other senators look like complete goofs.
hmm
I mean, if a Democrat had been that confrontational against a Republican. Oh my God! Well, you're imputing this person. You're doing this. You're doing that.
The only thing I wish I would have saw a little bit more, and I do agree that I thought that he composed himself very well, but it gets to a point where, they just start getting crazy and like just stand up and put them in their place and make it clear what they're doing. But he has to be down the middle. He, not playing favoritism at all. It's clear what the Republicans are doing, so you can attack it a little bit. I thought he played it. He kept on repeating the same thing over, although he
Good for
stood
him. You know
firmly.
what he did not cave in.
Yeah, I wish he would have a little bit.
Who? Eric Garland? He didn't cave
Yeah.
in. I
Well,
don't.
no, I wish he would have pushed back. Is what I is what I would.
Well, I don't think he could because of the sensitivity of certain things, and it was clearly overreach on the
Right.
part of the MAGAs. But you know what? I see a point in time when most of those bullies will be out of the government. Good.
I just think he was a little careful, and a lot of the Democrats are very careful when it comes to these extremists, and I feel like you kind of have to play fire with fire a little
But
bit.
hold on, he didn't play into their game. They wanted him to get mad and spill the beans so they could get information. You know what? He didn't play into their game. So what I pick up what he did was
Mm.
strategic.
I
And
agree.
he's smarter than the ones that were questioning him or the ones that were like being such jerks. You know,
Mhm.
he's got more chess moves than mine. Don't underestimate. He's a brilliant man.
I agree with that, and I agree with you. It was definitely strategic, but I
It's
wish he would have pushed back just a little bit.
That's not his nature. Everybody was saying about this whole Trump indictment and this and that. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? He did not bow to pressure. He kept doing his work. He wasn't going to throw something on the wall to see what sticks, like the Republicans are doing, or the MAGAs anyway. He was methodical, and look what's happened.
Right.
It
No, I
was
agree.
a question
I
of
just wish a little pushback, though. You would enjoy seeing these Republicans getting put in their place a little bit.
oh,
I
you know what?
agree.
I
He's trying not to rock the boat. He's trying not to come across as partisan,
I don't
but
think it's about rocking the boat. I think it was strategic. Now, if it had been me, I would have said, "Go screw yourself," and a nail,
exactly, exactly.
and 3 ways from left and right. But I have to give him credit. He held himself well.
I agree.
You know, um, I didn't watch it all because I was screaming at the TV.
Right? I had some reading, so I caught bits and pieces of it.
My
Um,
blood pressure was cranked. I turned it off. I took a blood pressure.
yeah.
I told the cardiologist I was watching on TV. My blood pressure went. He goes, "What'd you do?" I said, "I took a blood pressure pill." He was
All
laughing.
right. Now let's get to some of these questions. We have a
All right,
bunch
yeah,
of them.
let's go.
Let's do some fast rounds.
Let's do the lightning round.
Right. Thankful says, "Hi Mel and Kevin. Will the war in Ukraine end soon?"
The short version is no.
Hmm. I agree. I do feel things start to de-escalate, and for me, maybe it feels like beginning of next year, spring of next year. But I do think that it's going to take a while. There's going to be, over the territories a bit back and forth, but I do see a major de-escalation. I think spring of next year.
Well, I think Putin is behind a lot of what's going on in this country. Again, the misinformation, that this, that
Yeah.
that, because a lot of the MAGAs have said they want to, shut down the government because they don't want to approve spending for Ukraine. Well, guess what? Putin, my direct message to you, other than go to hell,
Mhm.
fast and furious, is
Right.
you ain't gonna win in this
Right.
country with your propaganda, and you ain't gonna win the war against Ukraine because they will not stop fighting.
Yep. I agree.
And that message
Yep.
goes to all the MAGA people too, or MAGA.
Maggot. The maggot.
Well, anyway,
Yeah. So it's going to be a while, thankful, unfortunately.
all right. I
All
agree.
right. How long do you expect the government shutdown to last?
I don't think long at all.
I think a little while. I do see chaos. I was kind of feeling like, well, McCarthy's in trouble because of this. We're gonna I don't know if they get him out yet, but it's like the start of his demise as speaker. But I felt like McCarthy was going to have to go to Democrats to get a deal done.
I see McCarthy gone.
Hmm.
But we got to watch that, because somebody that the Republicans might try to put in place could be like, we don't want to merge with Taylor Greene either.
Right. I don't see that. And I think, if anything, by pissing off these Republicans in swing districts, they would make sure that MTG or Jim Jordan or Matt Gaetz, none of them would get in there. I see somebody coming in, and I see actually bipartisanship, because that's going to be the only way they can get anything done.
You've been
They're
saying
going to
that all along, Kevin.
right. They're going to have to work across the aisles, because it's clear that the Freedom Caucus doesn't want. They just want to destroy our government and our democracy.
They want anarchy and confusion.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to click on these, or you want to click on them to show them? I
got it.
I'm sorry?
I said I got it. If you see anything that you want to click on, or anything that you want to read on, go ahead. But
okay.
Will America ever pay off all of its debt to China?
I guess the bigger question is, how much did we owe them? I mean, how much did they owe us before we owed them?
Mm-hmm.
I see it being paid off, yes.
It's going
But
to
I
take
also see more trade restrictions against China if they continue under the table to help Russia.
Right. Yeah, I do feel like our debt to China will get paid. It's going to take a long time, though.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a comment. I like this comment.
Pull it up.
Wayne Rich. Hi, Wayne. He says, I think the MAGAs are rhinos. I think you're right.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Sweetie Darling Lulu wants to know what Cassidy Hutchinson said about Giuliani. Is it true?
Well, it's not up for us to be the judge or the jury. But my guys tell me that she spoke truth. How's that?
For entertainment purposes only.
We want to be groped by him. Oh.
Right. Cheryl, I see your question going. I've seen you post it a few times. We're not doing personal questions tonight. We're just doing political. So I do feel like there was truth to it. And to me, it kind of brought me back to what was the video with Giuliani and Borat. It's not really funny, but he's a pig.
If he and Donald were the last 2 men on the earth, I think I'd go straight.
Right. All right.
Cheryl, your duplex will sell fast, okay? All right. All right.
All right. Diane Bark. Tammy Wilson is running against Jim Jordan. Will she win?
I think it'll be very close, but I see him out of office. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like he might get in, and then after 2024 is when he has some legal issues and is removed. He's in a very red district, in the way that Ohio's maps are gerrymandered. I think she would have a very hard time, Diane. But I do feel energy around her. So there's some momentum. So I would say don't give up on hope. But
well, she's got
I do see Jim Jordan being removed.
She'll have a chance if she knocks on doors. But I see Jim Jordan out of office. Now, I don't know if that's being removed or resignation or voted out, but that's what I see.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Sometimes we see them leaving. We don't know how that we see them leaving, if they're not voted back in, or with a lot of these Republicans, they have legal challenges, and but Jim Jordan has a big wake up call coming in this way very shortly. All right. Linda Bishop said, did anybody see the picture of Rudy and 45 that Linda G posted? Just so funny. Get a good look at 45 is still holding his right hand. I haven't seen it, but I can only imagine it was good.
I put that up because I thought I'd put a good job. Linda and I were texting last night, and we were on a roll. And I can't even go into what we're talking about. It was really off color. about Giuliani and Trump.
Hmm.
We were talking about a part of the anatomy, and Linda Grenzel said if both of them bent over, um, you wouldn't. It would be hard to see a certain part of their anatomy because they would look like basset hounds. I was laughing
Oh.
so hard.
Hmm.
I don't think
Like you said, it's enough to
I
make
don't
us consider going straight, right?
yeah, right. I don't think we'll go into YouTube jail for that was nicely paraphrased, by the
It
way.
was nicely paraphrased.
I was laughing so hard. She is funny.
Hmm.
I told her, "I'll play straight man to you." Oops, not that kind of straight man. I mean, I've got a sense of humor too, and I'm funny, but I mean, she just, I mean, and it comes like that, and it's that
She's
zinger.
quick.
It's
She's
like
quick
it
with
catches you off guard, and you just double over.
it. All right, Janet DC. Do you see any change in status for Jimmy Carter?
Well, people were predicting he'd passed away months ago, and he's not ready to give up yet.
Mm. He
Um,
came. I I did. He came to me. I don't think it was last this last Tuesday, but I think the Tuesday before. He kind of popped up in my head. Um, and I do feel like it's getting much more closer now than when they announced it. But obviously, we want to be respectful and give the family the respect and their privacy with it. So I don't want to go too deep into it, but I just got that he's happy and um, you know he's a man of faith, so he's going home. I'm feeling with his wife too. I feel like they're going to cross, maybe not like right away, but pretty close together.
yeah, we've said that. Like,
Mhm.
once one crosses, then one will cross soon thereafter.
Shortly after, yeah,
But I really admire Jimmy Carter.
yeah.
I'm not religious, but he was religious, but he brought, I think, a lot of integrity to the White House.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember when Gay marries, the whole thing about that, and they ask him about it, and he says, "There's nothing in the scripture." I love his accent. That's against
Hmm.
gay marriage, and he said, "So there's nothing in the Bible about it." And they were like, "Well, Sodom and Gomorrah, well, that's in the Old Testament, but that's doesn't really spell it out." But he said, "There's nothing in the scripture about it," and so uh, he's a man of his faith, but he's also
Hmm.
a man of integrity, and I really
Absolutely.
admire him. So
And just really just giving back and even just like working to help other people and until his 80s, they were building homes and with his foundation and all that. So he's done a lot of really great work um, to be admired. Yeah.
I mean, didn't he get the Nobel Peace Prize? I don't know, but he's a true humanitarian. He's done a lot of good works for people.
Hmm.
I admire that man. I think if I could be like anybody, it would be like Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
All
anyway,
right,
I'm reading the comments here. So, hi, Lisa Foster. Lisa's with us.
Lisa. Carrie G, do you see gas prices coming down anytime soon?
Well, I think it's price gouging. Is what I think,
I do too.
but I think
It's hard
Biden.
to say though because it's so regional. I mean, if you're on the West Coast, you're paying a lot more in gas than what I'm paying here in Ohio.
Well, I think if you know, I see Biden releasing gas from the National Reserve to bring prices down.
Hmm.
Um, but boy, if a Republican were in office, they'd be like, well, it's supply and demand, and it's supply chain, and blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
But election year is coming up, so I think
They'll
there's
probably go up a little bit.
well, I think there's a lot of the oil, and coal that
Hmm.
are working together to raise the prices because they want to make it look bad for Biden. You know,
Right.
it's all politics. Ever notice like right before election year, gas prices go way up?
Do you ever notice when there's a Democrat in office, gas prices skyrocket, and then when a Republican's in office, they drop?
Right. But I
Because
think
they see their future and they know that Democrats are looking for more cleaner alternatives or electric, um, and the Republicans don't care about those kind of regulations. So for their own survival, that's what they do. And a lot of it's not drived up by the market. It's price gouging, like you said, and it's to hurt the Democrats and to hurt the people.
Well, at some point, you know, what I see coming,
Hmm.
my light bulb went on, is that during the election year, I see Biden giving a rebate to people.
Okay.
He'll say to offset something, and the Republicans will be like, "That's buying votes. You can't do that." And he'll be like, "What?"
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's.
But I would say to expect them to go up a little bit next year.
But then I see them coming down again.
Right.
Uh,
So,
there's a Wayne Rich here. He and his wife were going to get a reading from me. I think a couple Saturdays ago, but I think I either had the tendonitis or it's right after the biopsy. So Wayne, I didn't forget about you. Call my office, 847-590-5411. They want a free session, and we'll
oh,
see
nice.
for you, Wayne. So I didn't forget you. Hi, Mimi Rose. I love her. She sent me the most beautiful thing.
She's very thoughtful.
She's a
She sent me a Starbucks gift card for my birthday. So I
yay.
appreciate it. I like my coffee, as you can see. Um,
Well, this
um,
this is ginger ale. It looks like bourbon, but it's not.
being good tonight, Mel.
Being wonderful.
Wonderful. All right. How are the Maui people doing? Will the big hotel money be stopped from buying up Lahaina?
The answer is yes. They're already stopping that. And
Okay.
so I see Lahaina being built back to what it was, or a semblance thereof before, I'm going to call it the Great Fire.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, the people in Maui and Lahaina obviously suffered great losses, but I think federal government stepping in, aid is coming, and they will
Yeah.
rebuild.
It's going to take them a while, though.
There
I
might
feel.
be a few large corporations under the table that would give some people exorbitant sums of money, but I see that being stopped. I really do.
Okay.
So
It feels like I do still feel like struggle. There's definitely a lot of resources that are still needed to be handed out, but I do agree with you. I see the federal government coming in. But I think the hard thing is it's going to take them so long to rebuild that area because it was totally decimated.
I'm petting the dog as we speak. She's got her toy in her mouth. Can you see her?
Uh-huh.
That's her. She always has a toy in her mouth. This is Lucky, and this is her doggy Valium. So that's what I'm doing. I'm petting the dog as we speak. Every time I do a YouTube show, she comes up here, she sits on my foot, she's got a toy in her mouth, and if I don't pet her, she looks up at me. Then if I don't pet her, she takes the paw and goes like this.
Well, she's very well behaved. You wouldn't even know. In the last few shows I've done, the male person comes or somebody walks by the house and then you hear dogs going off. Three
I
dogs
think,
going off for
I think
5
it's
minutes.
their uniform or something. Because Lucky she likes the male guy, but if he comes around without his uniform, she loves him. But when he's got that uniform on, she's
They know.
Anyway, we digress.
Right. And thank you so much for the super chat, Letty.
Oh, that was nice. Oh, can I do this one, Kevin, real quick?
Yeah, of course.
This was a good one. I love this one. We want to read it, or should I?
You can read it.
KC, why is there drama over Senate clothing? As long as they're getting their jobs done, who cares if they wear casual clothes? I agree 100%. If that were a MAGA Republican that came in dressed, the way I can't think of the guy's name they're criticizing.
They're criticizing Fetterman.
Fetterman, that's right. You know what? That guy had a major stroke, and he's running circles intellectually around most of those MAGA people.
Right.
If that were Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was bringing a gun on the House floor.
Right.
Oh, she can. Okay, but they're going to talk about the way he dresses. I hate to give you bad news there, Marjorie, but honey, somebody's been calling the fashion police on you.
Right.
And don't even talk to me about Lauren Boebert, Miss Get Groped in Beetlejuice.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Crazy, isn't it?
Democracy. So,
I don't think it's that big of a deal of them going off about it. If you want my opinion, I think I think if it were me in that position, that I would want to dress to impress because it's a professional job. But really, at the end of the day, who cares? Who
I
cares?
would
It's not
go
a
in
big
my
deal.
Aloha shirt and my cutoffs, and
There you go, Mel.
Letterman should wear a t-shirt and gym shorts and go, and you know
Right,
what? Well, I'm doing my job, and y'all ain't doing yours. So get over
right.
it. I
To
will.
each their own, though.
I would wear an Aloha shirt every day.
And you would look fabulous in it, Mel.
I'd be like, stop playing.
Here comes Annie Mel.
I would rather see somebody, you know, dress
You
cash
and
and
doing their job.
rather than carry a gun on the Senate floor or
Right.
the House floor and refuse to go through the metal detectors.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it's not. It's as Linda would say, it's a nothing burger. And I don't understand why it's that big of a deal.
I think the MAGA Republicans have the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Hmm.
In other words, we the emphasis on the wrong syllable. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, honey, you need to look in the mirror because somebody's calling the fashion police.
Cindy P.S. Good evening, Mel and Kevin. You make a great duo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your guys have a timeline as to when the first big fish goes to jail? Rudy, Mark Meadows, Trump, etc.
Well, hopefully tomorrow at 2:30.
Nobody's going to. I don't see anybody being prosecuted or charged in 2023.
Well,
I mean,
that's
you might have like Cheeseborough, but any of the big people, I think it will be more in 2024.
Cheeseburger, I think, will get charged.
I do too.
And he's going to end up, you know,
I don't even know who he is though, so I don't really I don't consider him as a big fish. I mean, I'm sure he was pivotal, but
well,
um,
what I think happens is um, once he's sentenced to jail, I think he'll work with the feds and going against the
mhm,
other big uh, big perpetrators. In other words, he'll flip.
yeah.
So, uh, actually, it was smart of him to get his trial out of the way first because it's a bellwether of what's going to happen with the other ones,
Hmm.
and it ain't
Well, I
going to
don't think it's going to do
be pretty.
right. I think if anything, though, it kind of hurts him because the defense will see the prosecutor's case against him, and since they're trying them as a whole group, they'll be able to better defend themselves or see any
Yeah,
weaknesses in it.
yeah,
So,
but don't kid yourself. The prosecution's got a few tricks up their sleeve too.
well, I agree, and I feel a lot of charges, but I'm just saying, I don't think going first is going to pan out well for him. So
He's going to end up with a long sentence, and I think at some point he'll flip. I know he will.
I agree,
We shall see.
but I'm feeling more of 2024.
I think you're right. I really think you're right.
Some of them it'll even be 2025. So
You know, they're not going to get pardoned either.
right. Sunny Valeria wants to know what are Hunter Biden's consequences of his indictment? Will he do jail?
Um, I think he's got a really good defense. He's got some
Hmm.
great defense teams. Um,
I think he'll end up taking a deal. Is what I'm feeling like another
well,
deal coming.
he'd offered a plea bargain before.
It fell apart, but I feel another one coming
I
in.
wonder why it fell apart. The judge didn't think it was fair or something, right?
It's because they weren't on the same page supposedly. But um, the special counsel for Hunter Biden is they're just trying to make an example of him because he's the president's son. Now, God forbid if anybody did that with Trump and his kids.
Oh, oh, he would have pardoned him in a nanosecond.
Exactly. But I don't. I'm not feeling jail. Um,
Not either.
they're even saying that with the charges, they never really bring that charge up unless it's related to other charges with it. But by itself, they don't normally do that charge. And I think the max would be like 25 years. There's no, it's not that big of a deal, to be completely honest. It doesn't warrant a 25-year sentence. I kind of feel like um, another deal will be made. Is
So do
what
I.
I'm.
I mean, he might, be charged with, I don't know if it's felony, but he might have to do some community service. I don't know what it is.
Probation,
Like,
I think.
could you imagine the Secret Service accompanying him on community service? And then the Trumplicans will be like, well, it's a waste of taxpayers' money. Oh, well, Mr. Trump, you
Mhm.
signed something in before you left the presidency that you could have Secret Service protection for longer than you were supposed to have. So don't even
Hmm.
ask me about that.
I don't see him in an actual jail, like prison though. If he got any time, I feel like it would be put into a deal, and maybe it would be like 6 months of house arrest. It doesn't feel like it's anything really of that nature,
That's what I think too. I think so. I don't see him in a jail cell, no.
though. All right. I kind of answered this a little bit earlier, but DH, will McCarthy keep his job or will they vote him out?
He better lick his thumb and get the hitchhiking ready because he's gonna need a ride.
Bye, Felicia.
We should do a Jenny called the hitchhike.
Right? Yeah. I don't know when I see, like, it could be a while still, but I do see him out before the next election.
Right.
We've been saying that since he got in there. All right. Well, this is a good one. Eljoy wants to know, hi, Kevin and Mel, will there be a Supreme Court vacancy by the end of 2023? Thank you.
If not in 2024, beginning of 2024.
Yeah. I feel like it's close. I don't know if it's going to be the end of this year or beginning of next year. But I do feel Thomas, I do feel like will be out before the next election.
I'm sorry, say again.
I said I feel like Thomas will be out before the next election. But to me, I feel like he's the first one to go, and it feels like it might be early next year.
I see Thomas gone and a couple others, but I see the court becoming more fair-minded, where partisanship won't take
Yeah.
a role. It shouldn't. So I see the court coming back to center, which is exactly where they should be.
Hmm. I almost feel like by the next election there might be two replacements, and then a third after 2024.
I mean, anything will look better than the justices Trump put on there.
Yeah.
I got to tell you a funny story about this. I got to show this one. Libra Lady says, I answered a poll phone call tonight and said I thought Biden was doing a good job. You go, girl. I had one the other night, and I said, I don't answer polls like this because I think they're inaccurate, and I wonder who's paying for it. She wouldn't answer the question. So she started asking, and she goes, well, who do you vote for? I said, well, the last I looked, my vote is secret, and I don't have to tell you who I'm voting for. I said, but if you're asking me if I'm going to vote for a Republican, I said, hell no. I'd rather be in hell with a broken backbone.
Hell to the no.
And she says, well, I guess this cause just ended. I said, well, I guess it has. I said, bless your heart.
I've never had a phone call. I've never been pulled. So that I think a lot of us have said that before. So I think that just shows you how far their reach is to get out to people and how accurate.
I knew what it was about. When she wouldn't tell me who was paying for it, I'm like,
right.
Oh, she goes, you might enjoy it. And I thought to myself, yeah, I might, but you ain't going to.
Well, they will just skew it to benefit the Republican anyway. So
I had to channel Auntie Mel.
Auntie Mel's gonna read a biat.
Yeah, then I'm going to tell everybody I'm channeling Auntie Mel. Okay.
All right. We have some time for a few more questions. We got a lot to start. So, who do you feel like the GOP nominee will be given? Who do you feel the GOP nominee will be given you both feel Trump ends up out of the running? I've said I felt like it's Trump, and then I don't see him on the ticket. So he gets the nominee, and then Republicans kind of scramble to put somebody else on there because something happens.
Well, I hope it's not Vivek or Vivek Rama. What's his name?
I don't
Rami or whatever. And it's not going to be the Satan, that's for sure.
I agree. I don't know. I feel like it could be able to change because it's very kind of murky to see who's actually on there. But I had a weird feeling when Tim Scott announced, and I don't think that he would be popular enough to get it himself. So
if it's not Trump, it could be that woman. What's her name?
Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
I don't see a woman though. I feel male with a woman VP.
So do
and
I.
I said on my show on Tuesday, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump picks that South Dakota governor as his VP. Noam.
If I were anybody in my right mind, I wouldn't want to be Trump's running mate. I had to say, I posted Deanne's comment because she's on. Deanne, we're still going to do a collab. I didn't forget about you. All right.
Deanne's so sweet. Go
She's,
over to her channel and subscribe, you guys, if you haven't. She
and
has a
get
lot of
ready.
great
And she's
content.
very talented. And
Yes,
she's a sweetheart.
she's very sweet.
For Dean. Oh, Jim Jordan left the room when Eric Swalwell
I
started
saw that.
talking. Yay! All right.
You talk about him dodging a subpoena. He's pretty quick to get out of there, right? Well, this is a good one. I I haven't seen personally, but Maggie, who wants to know, who do you think might replace McCarthy?
Well, I think the MAGAs are going to be waiting in line, but I don't see Matt Gaetz or
I see somebody bipartisan, a male.
the fashion queen Marjorie Taylor Greene
Mm-hmm.
or Jim Jordan. No. Or Tuberville. Nobody crazy. Wait, Tuberville, is he a senator?
He's in the Senate.
Okay. I don't see any of the MAGA people. I think if the Republicans are smart, they'll put somebody in their middle of the road that'll be willing to reach across the aisle. That would get Republicans more votes than what they're doing.
Well, what's going to happen is if they replace McCarthy, they're not going to have the votes to put anybody in there. And so it's going to be chaos and a circus in the House, and they're going to have to go to Democrats to put somebody in there. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, here's another point of view. And Cece, thank you. She says, I wasn't happy with Garland's performance at all. He stuttered, stammered at times, spoke very softly, looked confused. We need a powerful communicator like Peter Strzok or Glenn Kushner. I do agree with Glenn Kushner.
He would be great, wouldn't he?
General, oh, he would have chewed him up and spit him out. But that's not Merrick Garland's personality. Merrick Garland is more like, he's more stoic. He's more.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. There should have been somebody who spoke up more, but I still think it was strategic. But thank you, Cece. That was a really good point.
And I think Glenn Kirshner would be amazing as Attorney General.
Oh, yeah. I could see him as Attorney General.
I don't see it, but I think that I think he would be great for it.
I think Glenn Kirshner's phenomenal at what he does. Mm-hmm. He's my hero. I really admire him. He should run for president.
Yeah.
All right.
We've answered this a million times. So I think it's probably just a one-word answer. But will the Biden impeachment blow up in the GOP's face? Absolutely.
Yes and yes. I don't even see it going to the Senate. And if it does, it's not going to be brought to the Senate floor.
I don't even think it would get out of the House, to be completely honest with you.
Right.
So. All right. But I think the American people are smart, and they're going to see past the Republicans' attacks. They did the same thing with Benghazi, with Hillary,
I know.
Carol says, hi, Kevin and Mel. I saw a Facebook post by a gentleman claiming that solar panel farms were causing, I guess we lost the other part of it. If you're still here, Carol, and you want to finish that. I'm assuming causing harm, and I don't feel that way at all.
I don't know what the question is, so I don't know what they're causing. But I think solar energy is the way to go, to be honest with you.
And it's the way that we're going to be going in the future. So
right.
This isn't really a question, and I hadn't heard this, but sweetie darling Lulu says, MTG announced she's drafting declaration of war against some Mexican cartels. She's such an idiot.
Against the MAGA cartel she's got going on in the sun. She better be careful with that. Because you don't mess with those cartels if you're, one little group of people, because they will do whatever they need to do, whether it's propaganda, whether it's pulling some stuff up on her that she does not want released, and that's exactly what they'll do. And buddy, they're going to leak it out, and it'll be true, embellished, but true. And let's see how she does damage control on that. So by her making that statement, that is going to help expedite the end of her political career.
All right. I just want to say, hey, Kevin Lewis.
Hey, Kevin, how are you? I didn't know Kevin Lewis was in the house.
Nice to see you, Kev.
Kevin and I were in San Francisco together. And
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Carol, I'm finishing her question. She was saying that she heard that solar panels were causing temperature fluctuations. I think it might be a hoax.
That's a hoax.
The
That
temperature rises are not from energy panels.
from the
We had a strong no.
stuff we're put in the air. I
Exactly.
think that's conspiracy theory BS, and I think this
Hmm.
bill was planted by the people who want to keep us on fossil fuels.
I agree.
So
Vanessa says, "Do you both see when Trump will be arrested?"
next year.
All right.
Well, hold on. Let me rephrase. There's going to be a gag order, another gag order, and he's not going to shut his mouth. And I see a judge holding him in contempt.
Hmm.
And that's when he gets arrested. Now, they might put him on house arrest, but nonetheless, they'll say he can't leave. He'll be tethered and he'll have to give up his passport.
Hmm.
If it
Yeah,
was,
if you're talking about somebody actually, if Trump going to jail, or I don't know, if I necessarily feel house arrest personally, but
oh, he's going to be held in contempt, I'm telling you.
I agree he'll be held in contempt. For me, it feels more like charges, and I think the lady with the January 6th won't be playing. She'll make the case sooner if he's going to step
Well,
out.
he's going to be restricted from travel when he's held under contempt, and he's
Yeah.
going to be saying, "Oh, it's just the way because they don't want me to campaign because I'm running for president."
Hmm.
Wrong, Donald. You open your mouth.
Right. But if you're asking Vanessa if Trump is, I don't see prison for Trump. I don't know if he doesn't
I
live
don't
long
either.
enough for it. What do you say, Mel?
I don't see him prison, but I see him severely limited because of
Yeah,
contempt of court,
I agree.
and that's coming quick.
All right. Laura D says, "Will Elon Musk succeed in charging for Twitter for everyone? Will Twitter collapse? Notice he's doing this as we gear up towards the 2024 election." I heard that. I think that tells you how good Twitter is really doing with him leading it. If he has to start charging for the service, and do you think many people are going to pay for Twitter? No,
We knew
it's not
that
going to happen.
we knew this would happen. We predicted it, and here we
We
are.
predicted Twitter imploding, haven't we?
I think what
Running
he's
it to the
trying to do
ground.
is, I think he's trying to recoup some of his losses, but I see Twitter defunct. I really do.
Mhm. Well, I think he was paid to destroy Twitter, to
Oh,
be
he
completely
was
honest.
absolutely
That was part of the goal, and I think he knows charging for Twitter is not going to be successful. So,
right.
but there'll be um, something new coming in to replace it. Isn't there always with the social media? We
I
had MySpace, and that kind of just disappeared, and then Facebook came in the picture, and everybody started using Facebook.
Yeah, that was MySpace, but I think that this will be something that replaces Twitter. That won't let people make statements that aren't true,
Hmm.
or that will try to create insurrection. Uh, but bringing it what Twitter used to be.
Yeah.
Jody. Oh, my psychic light bulb just went on in this question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Jody asked, will the impeachment BS by the House Republicans delay the DOJ case against the members involved in January 6th and other crimes in order to protect themselves from the appearance of being biased and partisan?
You know what? That is exactly, and that was so intuitive, you, Jody.
Mm,
That's exactly what their strategy is, but it will not
it
work.
won't work. Yeah.
It's not going to delay it at all.
Mhm. Yeah. And Jack Smith isn't playing. Like I said, I do feel more indictments coming soon from Jack Smith. For me, it feels like those around Trump in January 6th, and then it feels like the Congress people are a little bit later. But like Rudy Giuliani, those that were kind of crucial in planning January 6th.
Yeah,
I
that's exactly why they're doing it.
I see indictments coming in, and it
Here
doesn't feel like
again,
it's too far out.
they're doing it. Here again, our D's: deceive, divert, detract, destruct, divide, and destroy. That was
Amen.
pretty brilliant,
Yeah.
Jody, that you came up with that. And when I read that question, I got cold chills, and my light bulb was blinking. Yes, yes, yes,
Mhm.
right. But they won't win. It won't work.
I
If
agree.
anything, it might expedite
All right.
the January 6th criminal cases.
To me, it feels like indictments for the Congress people are coming towards the end of this year and more in the beginning of next year, like spring of next year feels really significant.
I agree.
All right. I don't really like going off other people's predictions, but we've talked about it before. Jane Hiramoto says Linda G said her ears are ringing and said that there's going to be an earthquake somewhere. What do you see?
Well, there's
California's been having
volcanic
some
eruptions in Indonesia, and that Pele on the Big Island is going to wake up. If there's big volcanic activity in Indonesia that can create earthquakes, I think they're talking about more domestically.
I think they're talking about the West Coast.
Exactly.
And I do feel something northwest. To me, it feels like it's Northern California or into Oregon is what I'm
I
kind
see
of
another big quake in the Middle East. Huge.
Okay.
Northern California, if it is up in that area, I mean, it's a big quake, but it's not going to do the devastation like it would in, Indonesia or the Middle East.
They have the infrastructure for
Right.
quake.
Exactly.
But I feel a significant one though too. Not like a 8 or a 9. It feels like 6s, maybe a 7. But I mean, it feels like it's a good sized one.
I just don't know.
I don't know when. I've said that for a while though. I've felt like Northern California, Oregon. And you were kind of just answering this, but Too Intuitive it says, do you see any volcano eruptions coming? Yeah, I do feel I felt like South America and Central America having some volcanic activity. I did say, I think earlier this year I felt activity in Italy, and I think was it Etna that is starting to erupt not that long ago.
I'm sorry, say again.
Etna started to erupt not that long ago, I believe. I did say on Tuesday I was getting a bit of a hit, and it came to me like as a vision like 3 times. But I did feel either like an earthquake or volcano activity. It felt like South Pacific, Indian Ocean, and I did feel like a wave being generated from it. And I don't like getting too much into it because I know a lot of people are really scared, and that's never really the intention with these. It's just more
Right.
of that preparedness. But when I'm being shown something twice, 3 times, it's kind of a sign that they're giving me that information for a reason. So
yeah, I mean, we don't want to scare people.
right,
That's the purpose of this. Oh, here's a good question. Can I put it up?
of course.
This is a good one. Go ahead.
Anne says, "Is there's a surgeon in Dallas planning to run for Congress? Will he win? Last name is Williams, I think. He wants to educate Republicans about what happened to people shot with AR-15s." I don't really. I think if I had an actual name, I think it would be easier to tap into it. But I feel good about like the Dallas area going. I think the Dallas area is more blue, so they have it so gerrymandered though, so it's kind of hard to tell.
I see a win for him at some point. I don't know if it's this time around, but what he's going to continue to do is to talk about the damage done by these weapons.
Yeah.
And he's going to get a lot of Texans and a lot of other people on his side. And he's going to be a huge force in banning these AR-15s. So he's going to be, I mean, he's not afraid to take on the NRA. The guy has a set of something. I like his energy. I just wish I'm going to look his name up at some point. We'll talk about it.
It'd be easier if I knew who he was running against and a name, and then I could kind of feel it a little bit better. I feel like he has a shot.
Tris says, I agree with Kevin. I wish that Garland would have said something like, that's blatantly false, and I cannot answer that since it's still under investigation. You know better. But that's not his personality. I mean, I agree with what Kevin said, and I agree with what Tris is saying, but you have to know his personality. That's just not his personality. But if he said that's blatantly false, then essentially he's answered the question. I know what his strategy was. I picked that up immediately.
All right. Are you good for a couple more questions?
Oh, let's keep going. I'm ready.
All right. Kathy Reagan says, Auntie Mel and Kevin, do you see Mitch McConnell resigning soon?
I'm worried about his health, but I want to tell you something. I don't think he's ready to give up just yet because he sees what's going on in the Republican Party with the MAGAs, and he's not liking 1 ounce of that.
Yeah. I almost feel like he's not going to have a choice, and it doesn't feel like it's too far off. Now, that's not, wishing for ill health or anything like that. I actually feel, I'm not a fan of Mitch McConnell. But I did feel kind of bad, and you know how embarrassing that would be to freeze twice while you're giving a speech. I felt bad for him for having an episode in front of
I did
everybody.
too. I did too.
Um,
But
but I do see him having. I do see him leaving soon.
I don't agree with his politics at all.
Hmm.
At all. I used to do my imitations of Mitch like that. But I hate to see the man sick. But he forgot more than most people ever knew.
Mm.
And I do think he'll resign at some point, but not just yet. If anything, I think it's going to be after the election.
Oh, I was going to say I felt before, so I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Wouldn't it be wild if it was the day before or 2 days before?
I was kind of feeling more like early next year, but
Okay.
I felt like before the election, but we'll see, I guess, right?
Well, I think he'll stay in long enough to stop some of these shenanigans. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I do feel like Dianne Feinstein having to step down here sooner rather than later
Oh, I
too.
see her resigning. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think she'll make it close to. I feel like she may actually make it closer to the election than McConnell, but we'll see. Timing's always a bit hard to quite pinpoint.
Yes.
So yeah, Lisa says he's not a good person either, but
Well, I don't
don't
think
wish
he's a good person, but I don't wish
many
him.
bad things. Yeah, and to have like an episode like that, and have it be so public. I mean, I don't like the guy. I don't like his politics. I think he's caused a lot of damage to our country. But yeah, I don't wish that for him. I felt bad for him.
Exactly.
All right. Steve wants to know when we feel Jim Jordan will get his karma.
Starting very, very soon. I don't wish him harm, but I also see ill health around him.
Yeah, he doesn't feel. I don't feel like. Sorry, excuse me. I'm not picking up like major stuff like when I look at Trump and Giuliani. I pick up like really critical health issues, but I do feel like there's a deep health issue there too. To me, it feels like it's chest related.
Okay. I do too. I feel illness there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Like maybe some heart issues or something like that.
Something.
Um,
I'm still scrolling here.
I'm going through some of.
Do we have any more stars?
Oh, I want to. We do have some, but a lot of them are comments that we already went through. Fed Girl says this isn't a question, but more of a statement. For anyone that receives Social Security checks, you will still receive them under the shutdown. The debt ceiling was passed last June, and the budget is an annual thing. It is money for the next fiscal year beginning October. Yeah.
It's also about not what we owe in the future. It's about paying the bills we owe.
Well, that's more of the debt ceiling. This is more of putting money into
I got it.
into like the federal people.
What's
So
for funding?
people will be furloughed or they'll have to work, federal employees.
Well, Biden's going to find ways to fund Ukraine. Don't kid yourself.
Right. I don't see it being a long shutdown.
And if he has to pull it out of one thing and put in the other, he'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Camelia asked, how does Zelensky feel after visiting the U.S.?
Well, I think he was relieved to know that Biden was on his side, but he was really upset after a lot of those Republicans said they supported Ukraine, and now McCarthy wouldn't give him.
Wouldn't even let him speak to the Congress. Yeah.
But Zelensky will be back and will speak to the Congress. But but McCarthy didn't want that because he was playing to Trump,
mm-hmm.
and Trump was playing to Putin, but also because he knew that Zelensky would call some of those MAGA Republicans out on their BS, and he didn't want that. That's what my guides tell me.
I think it just shows you how many people are bought and paid for by Russia. So,
well, I want to tell you, Zelensky will be back.
I agree, and that's what I was going to say too. I felt concerned about to me, it feels like he's kind of concerned with where our democracy and the politics going on now, um, to really feel secure about like resources being sent over that are much needed. So there's concern there, is what I'm picking up.
Let me check one thing. Let me check one thing.
All right. Well, while you check that, I'm going to.
Oh, okay. No, because somebody was saying, Steve Watts was saying, somebody's talking about gas prices. And he just said, I just checked out how many liters in a gallon. He must be Australia. Our fuel in Australia is heaps more expensive in Australia. Yeah, $2 a liter. So there's 3.785 liters to a gallon. So 1 gallon is close to, it's 3 point, it's like almost, it's almost, a gallon is almost 4 liters, but not quite. So in a lot of European countries, they're paying $2 and $3 a liter, not a gallon. So it boils down to they're paying that for about a quart.
Okay.
So I just wanted to straighten
that. I mean, gas prices aren't what they were last year here in Ohio. Not to say that they're cheap. I mean, I think last time I filled up, gas was like $3.60 a gallon. So not too bad here.
And Mimi Rose has got a birthday coming up, I think. Next month, I think. So happy early birthday, Mimi.
I hadn't heard about this. I don't know if you have any insight on it, Mel, but what do the guides say about a spat between India and Canada? I hadn't heard of any issue.
I haven't heard about it, but if it's a spat between India and Canada, Canada will win.
Okay. All right. Do you feel Hakeem Jeffries taking over as Speaker of the House soon?
I don't know if it's soon, but I have always said he's going to be the Speaker of the House.
I see it at some point too.
And it's a lot sooner than later. So there you have it. And he'll be amazing. Of course, the MAGAs won't like it because they're racist bigots. But but wouldn't that is so karmic to have Hakeem as Speaker and like, okay, Marjorie, okay, Matt, okay, Jordan.
Right. Yeah, I see it too at some point. I feel like it might not happen before the next election, but afterwards.
That's what I think too.
Well, we've been on for almost an hour and a half, so I think we're going to end it there if that's fine with you, Mel.
Can we do just one more? I always do just one more.
I know. All right, one more.
Okay, Kathy Reagan's. This is a good one. I like this.
Auntie Mel and Kevin, when do you see George Santos being removed from office?
Had that been a Democrat or an independent, it would have been when they first found out he lied. The only reason they're keeping him there is because they need his vote.
Right.
I see him, and I see him in jail.
I agree, and I've said I feel like he's the first of the GOP crazies to leave.
Thank God.
He might actually before the end of this year, but timing's always a bit hard. So I see it before the next election.
He's a disgrace to the LGBTQ community, that's for sure.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I think, I don't wish him harm, but I see him extradited to Brazil at some point and to have to answer the stuff he did there.
Yeah, he's got a lot of legal challenges, and I see a jail cell for his future. Is what I see.
Wonder who'll pay for those. Like, where did he get the mystery money?
All right, Mel. Well, it's always fun. I always enjoy our Thursday nights together. Next week, your channel. Perfect. And I have your information in the description box, but if anybody wants a reading with you, how do they get a hold of you?
They can call my office at 847-590-5411 or email me www.meldoerr.com. That's Meldoerr, MELDOERR.com. Everybody, please hit the thumbs up for Kevin's channel and subscribe, that little button down there.
Yes. Let's get to 9,000. We'll do a giveaway. Make sure to go over to Mel's channel and subscribe because you're getting pretty close to 20K, right?
When I get to 20, I'm going to have Kevin Chandler help me plan a 20K party.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give away 3 free Aloha shirts to my members.
Mm.
and 3-hour readings to my members, and three free half-hour sessions to my subscribers. But I'll show you. I premiered it last night, but I just want to show you this Aloha shirt.
Okay.
You'll see all the stuff behind me. But here, my friend dog trainer Angela sent me a website, and you can design your own Aloha shirt. So I designed this, and you can put like a picture of your partner. That's Lucky. So I put a picture all over it.
Oh,
So,
that's cute.
and so, to my members, they can send me a picture of themselves, of their pet, of their partner, and I will design the shirt, and I'll put the picture, and I'll have them put the pictures in there. I
Very
designed the shirt. They let you design your own shirt, and here's the back of it. Kim Copeland said, "Hey Mel, you think you'd have gotten some more colors in there?" I thought it was kind of cute.
It is cute.
So
Well,
that's
and speaking of Kim, she may be joining us next week. I don't know if you talked to her about it afterwards, but she said maybe next Thursday.
maybe we can twist our arm a bit.
Right. We'll get her to get down and dirty into the political readings.
All right.
All right. And if anybody would like a reading or a Reiki session with me, you can send me an email, kevinlovingvibrations@gmail.com. I have some fun shows coming up next week and the following week, getting some more collabs in order. So I'm excited. I'll announce those next week. So
Sign
right.
up, you all.
Yes. All right, everyone. Sending you all a lot of love. Thank you, Rebecca, for the super chat. And we'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.